Hello, good day everyone, and welcome again to one of our conference discussion about Magna Carta for seafarers. Yes, I know this law has been controversial lately because of the fact that it was recently enacted in the Philippines, and some people, uh, they kind of criticize this law in the sense that it was kind of, at least from interpretation, that the law is basically an anti-seafarers law. But yeah, it's kind of a bit of an irony that they call it a law for seafarers' welfare, and yet some people or some critics about this law says that the policies implemented on this law is basically more of like only favors the ship owners and manning companies. It does not say favor they don't really exactly favor these Filipino seafarers. So we're here now, right now, because Kabayan Party List kind of organized some sort of video conference for everyone or for the general public to, yeah, they kind of organized a video conference meeting for the general public's education of what Magna Carta is. Also, keep in mind that this video discussion, they are only here to interpret interpret sorry about that. They're here to interpret the law of Magna Carta, but they're not here to discuss or make a debate out of this. So in other words, this is just more like clarification on what Magna Carta law is. So anyway, we're still a bit early for about 8 minutes. The formal discussions of video conference of Magna Carta law will be around 1:30, if I recall correct, 1:30 Philippine Standard Time. And we kind of arrived just early here just to hear the words on how Magna Carta is. So yeah, just like I just want to make a blog out of it myself, and I want to take a look on how things are going on this discussion. Of course, as I'm not gonna interfere or make any comments in them directly, or I won't be making any what do you call this? I won't be making discussions with them directly because I'll just let those folks handle the politics. I'm here just to give my opinion as well as an ordinary common guy and as an ordinary common seafarer who's also let's put it this way, I'm also a seafarer, so I'm kind of involved with it in some ways about this law, and I'm just gonna give you some facts on what is the point of view of an ordinary seafarer around here. Now, do take note, this is not a recorded session. This is a live video conference of Kabayan Party List that they kind of set up, and it's gonna be around for about about 7 minutes from now. So we're just here to listen. But first, while the meeting is not yet started, we can hear some propaganda videos from, propaganda videos from its sponsors. So anyway, let's hear it out. And let's just hear it out on how this works out, because we got a long 2-hour discussion on this video conference. And let's begin. And thank you everyone for watching in on this video. And also, if you if you kind of like the discussions in my video here and commentaries, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It will really help me a lot when it comes to content creation on YouTube. So anyway, without further ado, so let's begin now on this and listen on the for now, propaganda videos of folks involved in the maritime industry in the Philippines.
Ng industriya sa automation, digitalization at decarbonization.
Katulad ng pag-aaral ng blockchain, robotics at drone technology.
Para naman
anyway, this is kind of expected because there's the sponsors of today's discussion. So yeah, it's highly expected that this is how gonna turn out.
At matutunan ang mga pinakabagong technologies and advancements in modern vessels in compliance with the STCW.
Okay.
Lahat ng
Right.
pangangailangan, lahat ng pagsubok,
AMSUM ay narito dahil sa inyo.
Para sa inyo! Kaya ikaw at ako!
ako ay Amosu.
Ako ay AMSUM.
Kami ay AMSUM! 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 Tayo ay AMSUM! Tayo ay AMSUM! Tayo
Well, honestly, I'm not. I'm not exactly joining in on that propaganda videos. I am not. I'm basically the skeptic person. I don't believe I don't kind of believe easily on those kinds of stuff. So yeah. So we can also see here on my right side, I kind of improved my recording now. Right now, we have now a chat, which is I think it's a great feature because back then we're having problems on how we could show chat, but now we got a good a good view on our computer now on how what people are talking with or asking with on the chat. So it's really a great feature now that they kind of put the chat bar on the side. So for now, we're just gonna what do you call this? Listen on this propaganda videos that they keep plugging in. After all, yeah, the conference starts within 3 minutes, so there's plenty of time. We're very punctual when it comes to these kinds of actual live video conference. But like I said, I'm not here to participate on their video conference. We're just here to observe. We're not going to intervene or whatever you call it. We'll just have to hear it out what they have to say. Of course, I'm going to give my commentaries, but I am fortunately for me, they're not gonna hear me because my audio is kinda silent. So I'm just here to what do you call this? Hear on what they have to say. Right. So we got a lot of folks now on the chat, or at least we have now 50 participants.
Magandang hapon, kabayan, and welcome
Wow.
to Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers 101, a webinar series. Bago ang lahat, sa lahat ng mga nag-join sa atin sa Zoom at sa mga
Alright.
nakikinig
So
at
this is the
sa atin sa Facebook Live. Happy Valentine's Day po.
the spokesperson for the the MC for the this discussion, Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers.
Which we started last January 24 with the topics rights and obligations of seafarers.
Yeah.
Followed by episode 2 last January 31.
Yeah, we were present on episode 2, so it's a 4-part mini-series or webinar series
for the seafarers. Then our third episode last February 7, we talked about challenges of the maritime industry and measures to address ambulance chasing. And today, February 14, this session will delves into
my apologies, by the way, if you could hear me coughing or have a runny nose right now. My health isn't exactly 100%. So yeah, let's participate here on this chat. I mean, what I meant to say was let's participate on this video conference.
Supplier of seafarers.
Mm,
Let me just thank our partners for this webinar. This webinar is in partnership with AMUSUP,
Right.
United Filipino Seafarers.
I don't really like that organization.
Maritime Group,
But I'm not gonna mention
JMG,
why.
or the Joint Manning Group, and the FAME or Filipino Association for Mariners Employment. We would like to thank our media partner, Marino PH,
Right.
Maritime Journalist Association of the Philippines, and Marino World. And of course, our social media partner, Magsaysay Center for Hospitality and Culinary Arts. For those who are just joining us via Facebook Live, what you're seeing right now is our Zoom details, our ID and passcode if you want to join us via Zoom. And the registration link as well is posted and pinned on the comment section. After the session po, you will be able to get your certificate for this session.
Okay, right. Sounds fair enough.
Balikan ko lang yung ating first 3 episodes. For those who want to watch our first 3 episodes, let me check. January 24, Rights and Obligations of Seafarers, and January 31, Obligations of Manning Agencies and Roles of Government Agencies for the Seafarers, and February 7, Challenges of the Maritime
Yeah, they call it
Industry
rights and
and
obligations,
Measures
but
to
from
Address
what I heard
Underutilization.
on the
Lahat po yan
last
ay mapapanood nyo
episode, it's more of
kung
like
kayo mga able to
obligations,
join us
more of
last
obligations
time.
rather than
Mapapanood nyo po sa
rights.
kabayan nating
Like
Facebook
80%
page.
obligations,
Alright, at this
10%, 20%
point, we will move
rights.
on and have a moment for the prayer to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Okay, right. Okay, I'm just gonna mute this one because well, YouTube might kick my butt over this because this is more like a copyrighted music, and YouTube kind of detects this one. Yeah, funnily enough, YouTube kind of detects this one, so I'm not gonna play this one. So yeah, I'm just gonna play the background music. And yeah. So we'll just have the Moonlight Sonata. Hopefully YouTube does not eat this. Or I mean kick our actually Moonlight Sonata is more like copyright free, so I can play this one. Whew, okay. Yeah, my apologies because well, it's already getting summer in the Philippines and everything is getting hot at this time of the hour, and unfortunately my room is already slowly turning into a sauna. Hopefully my computer will not break down at this kind of temperature because it's already hot. It's noticeably hot, but not that hot. But on the coming of days, it will be very, very hot at this time of the hour, so I probably have to go down or hide somewhere at the basement of my house. So yeah, so we're just gonna watch the propaganda videos right now, and honestly I find this unnecessary, this music video, because this is more like a propaganda of the agency here, the Hartman. Totally unnecessary, and it does not, if you think about it practically, this does not have any relations on on the video conference. But anyway, they want to plug it in because after all, this is of course publicity on their company. They want to make some propaganda to recruit more guys, but totally unnecessary. Alright, so we can see also on our chat here that it's already blooming with some folks. You can see here that yeah, there's already a lot of people monitoring the situation. Well, not exactly monitoring the situation, it's more like participating in the video conference. We also have Mariana Academy of yeah, basically this is a training center. Alright, I have to yeah, this is okay because this is the national anthem. I'll be silent. Alright, that is the Philippine National Anthem. Nice, nice, nice. Well, I'm a Filipino, so it's our national, it's my national anthem. Or at least national anthem of
Para sa mga
Filipinos.
kapapasok lang sa Zoom at sa ating Facebook Live,
Okay,
you are
right.
watching Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers 101 webinar series.
Okay,
we are now
right.
on our 4th episode, and today our distinguished speakers will shed light on the current landscape of maritime education, the challenges training institutions face, and the reforms needed to equip our seafarers with the skills demanded by an ever-changing global market. By
Mm,
strengthening
right.
our educational framework and upholding the provisions of the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers, we can secure the future of our maritime workforce, empowering them to thrive and excel on the international stage. Let's begin the vital discussion
Yeah,
with
they
our
might put up
first
with a lot of
speaker
flowery
for
words, but it
today.
just basically boils down that more requirements
Our first
before
speaker
you get
is
inside
the
the job.
administrator of
So, in other words, more
Maritime Industry
requirements means
Authority
more
or
money you
Marina,
have to shell
Honorable
out just to
Sonia
be in
E.
the
Malaluan.
just to be
She
a
finished
seafarer.
her Bachelor of Science in Commerce, major in accounting at the University of Batangas. She obtained her Master of Science degree in shipping management from
All
the
right.
World Maritime University in Malmo, Sweden. She also held a master's degree in public administration or MPA from Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy from National University of Singapore.
Right.
Edwin Malaluan has been in Marina for more than 35 years, serving in various capacities. She became the representative or delegate of Marina to different
Right.
international fora. She also played a major role in following Marina's organizational changes, including development and issuance of policies, rules, and regulations. She developed the Marina Roadmap for the development of the country's domestic shipping industry
All
as
right.
part of the Marina Industry Development Plan or MIDP.
Okay.
Edwin Malaluan is a staunch advocate of women empowerment and equality. Although Honorable Malaluan cannot join us live, she sent us a recorded video for her message. Let's watch the message of
Okay,
Honorable
so I
Sonia
guess she's
E.
very busy
Malaluan.
right now to even bother with this one. But that's okay because if you can't really make it live, you just have to send a video. I think that's a good way,
Honorable Congressman Ron Salo of the Kabayan Party List,
right?
distinguished representatives from the government partner agencies,
Okay,
esteemed maritime industry stakeholders,
right.
dear seafarers, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
Okay,
Allow me to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Honorable Congressman Salo, first, for championing the welfare of Filipino seafarers, for his tireless efforts and hard work in spearheading the consolidation of relevant bills and eventual passage of the bill into law that we have now, Republic Act Number 12021, otherwise known as the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers. Secondly, for his unwavering commitment and support to DMW, DOLE, and Marina as the lead agencies in the implementation of the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers and the issuance of its implementing rules and regulations on
okay,
January 8, 2025. And
right.
lastly, for his continuing support by organizing this timely and important webinar series. It
Right.
is with regret that I cannot join you live today
That's
since
okay.
we are in London for a very important session of the IMO Subcommittee on Human Element.
You don't have to
Training
mention
and
the place. You
Watchkeeping,
just have to say
which will
IMO
also conclude
meeting.
today. But
Keep it
rest
simple.
assured
It's
of
not
the
like you're
continuing
going to make a
commitment of
humble
the
brag in
Maritime
that.
Industry Authority for the effective implementation of Republic Act 12021. In
Right.
particular, all provisions relating to maritime education, training, and certification. Later, Attorney Evgeny Terasola, who is also a ship officer, will make a more detailed presentation of the relevant provisions. It
Right.
has always been said that enactment of RA 12021 marks a defining moment in the maritime sector.
Well, not exactly a defining moment, but more of like a roadblock or more like a notice.
And welfare of our seafarers, and in advancing the maritime education and training programs.
Okay.
This is a step forward for the Philippine maritime industry, reaffirming its leadership.
All right. I'm
and
just gonna be skeptic, but I'm
competitiveness
gonna
on the
let
global
her
stage.
speak about that.
Implementation of RA 12021 entails
Right.
transformative change that Marina cannot successfully undertake without the proactive engagement of all stakeholders, ship owners, mining agencies, maritime education institutions, relevant government agencies, and the seafarers. At the heart of this legislation is our shared mission to safeguard the welfare of Filipino seafarers and elevate our maritime workforce to global standards.
Okay.
Achieving this vision starts from awareness, but it also demands action, our collective action. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not merely a discussion about policies. It is a call to actively build a future where every Filipino
Well, believe it or not, it's
seafarer
not even a
is
discussion.
empowered,
It's just more like an
protected,
announcement
and
and
celebrated.
announcement and
Let me
posting
share an
of
update
guidelines.
on
You're
Marina's
not
efforts.
asking
The
the
Marina has
common
long been
seafarers.
committed to developing a future-proof and competitive maritime workforce,
Really?
both nationally and internationally. Our goal is to maintain the Philippines' status as the leading provider of qualified and competent seafarers in the world maritime labor market, or even aim to increase the share of Filipino officers in the total global supply. Under RA 12021, Marina has assumed expanded responsibilities in maritime education. In the next days, Marina and CHED will issue our agreed transition plan and timelines to ensure the seamless turnover of documents and systems, the transition of relevant policies, procedures, and guidelines, and the capacity building for Marina personnel who will be assuming the new functions. The Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers mandated the creation of the Office of the Deputy Administrator for Education, Training, and Certification for Marina to effectively implement the mandates of the law.
Okay,
The Marina proactively acted and requested the DBM and DOTR on September 27 our proposed organizational structure alongside with the supporting documents for the creation of the new Office of the Deputy Administrator, just 4 days after signing of the law. We remain hopeful for the DBM's approval, which is crucial for Marina to fully execute its new mandates. We are hopeful that the requested plantilla positions will be approved by DBM and actual filling up could start after the election period. Marina will prioritize the following. First, to assume the functions from CHED based on the agreed transition plan. Implement measures to address the onboard training requirements for baccalaureate degrees to ensure that students will graduate and get their degrees and diploma. Finalize and test the ladderized maritime education system. Strengthen the compliance monitoring of MHEIs and MTIs. 5. Actively participate.
You know, here's the thing. No matter how much you put requirements on the training and education of Filipino seafarers, it still boils down to one thing. What's the use of training and education if you cannot secure the job of a Filipino seafarer? It's all about that. How to secure your career as a seafarer and how these newly graduates of seafarers get employed as soon as they graduate on the school, because it's very pointless. How much training you put, it's just basically you're just burning money if you can't really get. Let's be practical about this on this part. If you're not gonna get, if you're not getting good something out of it, if you're not getting earning money out of it, it's pretty much practically useless. You can put on as many requirements as you want to put it, but by the end of the day, it still boils down to one question: did you get the job as a seafarer or not?
Dedication and
That's my take
drive
here.
our mission to create an environment where your welfare, growth, and integrity are paramount. But we also appeal for your understanding and cooperation. Your government, under the leadership of our dear President, President Bongbong Marcos, through the Maritime Industry Authority, assures all of you of our continued commitment to your welfare and interests. Let us work together, government, industry, and seafarers alike, to make the Philippine maritime industry a global benchmark for excellence, innovation, and sustainability as we bring change towards the bagong Pilipinas. Thank you and good day to all. Mabuhay ang marinong Pilipino.
Okay, nice, nice. That was a good message.
All right, we've just heard Honorable Sonia V. Malaluan, the Administrator of Marina. At this
Okay.
point, we are moving towards the core discussion of our session, episode 4.
Yeah, basically
which
the
will
requirements and
be,
trainings of maritime
discussing the
education training.
and
Although I'm no
education of maritime
longer
professionals.
on
introduce to
college,
you our resource
I
speaker
already
for this
finished
session.
that college
Our resource
few
speaker
years
is
ago, a few
Attorney
decades ago. But I still
Yevgeny
want to see here
Terrazola,
on how this turns out.
STCW Office Marina. He's currently the Maritime Education and Training Standard Supervisor of the Standards of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping or STCW Office in Marina since 2014. He assists the Executive Director in Policymaking, Curriculum Development and Inspection and Monitoring of Maritime Training Centers, Assessment Centers, and Maritime Higher Education Institutions, and implementation and continuous improvement of STCW quality standards system. Attorney
Alright.
Terrazola was previously a second Marine Engineer Officer in oil and chemical tanker vessels. He also served as an instructor in various maritime training centers and maritime schools. He is a graduate of Philippine Merchant Marine Academy or
Oh
PMA.
shit!
class
Yeah, I
of
dislike those guys.
2003. He obtained his Bachelor of Laws at Philippine Law School in 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Attorney Yevgeny Terrazola. Good afternoon, Attorney.
Thank you, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, so they're kind of presenting some I think
Okay. Sa ating mga
some
minamahal na
PowerPoint
kabayan at mga
presentation.
kabarko na nandito ngayon,
Right.
magandang hapon po sa ating lahat at happy
Strangely,
Valentine's.
he mentions more of his
Ang pangalan po ng
title as an
CCW Office at
attorney
Marina
rather than
ay
a
buong puso
seafarer.
na nagpapasalamat sa pagkakataong ito sa
Which is kind of
Kabayan Party
funny.
List at kay
But anyway, let's
Congressman
hear this
Gonzalo
one out.
at sa lahat ng nandito ngayon, na may paliwanag kung ano ang training and education of maritime professionals under the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers. Next slide, please.
Right.
I apologize, sir, if you hear me saying next slide because I don't have the control over the slides.
That is okay, Attorney. That is okay.
Training and education of maritime professionals under the Republic Act 12021. Is this a fundamental shift in concept, or is it simply a streamlining of processes?
Well, this is a great thing here. That's what I was saying here a few moments ago. Okay.
On behalf of
I mean,
our
this is the great thing about the
Mr.
chat.
Samuel
He's saying
Batalla
here, the seafarers,
is currently attending the equally
why
important meeting of
the only
IMO.
ones who are participating in this webinar are many agencies and ship owners. He's kind of asking if there is a, an ordinary seafarer here who's participating. I mean, at least point of view of a seafarer. Mostly, I could notice that as well. Aside from me, of course. I'm also a typical common seafarer, but I'm not going to participate in this. I'm going to stay on the sidelines and let this, I'm not going to get involved with this one.
Republic Act 12021. As shown, is just my personal summarization of the law and its IRR. So, maritime education and training under Republic Act 12021.
Anyway, the topic is being discussed about the,
subjects.
Training and
These
education
first,
of college kids.
The jurisdiction of
But
Marina
this
over
one,
maritime education
this comment
and
really
training.
sticks out here.
Second, the shipboard
why
training.
mining agencies are
Third,
the only
the
ones present
regulation
here.
of training
How about the
programs
common
and fees.
seafarer? There's no one
And
here on this
fourth,
video
the
conference,
development
and they haven't
establishment
asked a
of
common
90-degree
seafarer on what's
courses
his
on
point of view
maritime
and a
education and training.
opinion about this matter.
So all of these salient provisions I have mentioned, the Marina within a reasonable period of time shall issue the appropriate implementing guidelines to give effect the provisions of the law and its IRR. So
Right.
let's now delve into the details of these salient provisions. Next slide, please. My scope of presentation, first, the discussion of Rule 18 of the IRR of Republic Act 12021, which pertains to the education and training of seafarers and cadets. And second, related policies to be developed by the Marina with concerned government agencies in education and training. So, for purposes of this presentation, I will present the specific provisions in the IRR regarding maritime education training. However, I cannot explain yet the details of those provisions because the implementing policy or circular has not yet been issued by the Marina.
Okay, so it's not official yet.
Next slide, please. Jurisdiction over maritime education. For purposes of this presentation, naganap po ako ng pinakasimpleng definition ng jurisdiction, and I referred to the Oxford Dictionary for the definition of jurisdiction. According
You
to
might be an attorney, but you're not
the
very
Oxford
good at,
Dictionary, it is defined as the territory or sphere
he's
of
not very
activity
good at speaking on
over which the
a
legal
lot of
authority
people.
of a court
He's not very eloquent.
or other institution extends.
Okay,
Next slide, please.
right.
So, ito na po yung specific provisions under the IRR. Section 1, Rule 18, Jurisdiction over Maritime Education. This
Well,
particular
jurisdiction
section
with
has been
this
derived,
part
from,
in
Section
Marina,
75
Marina
of
shall
the law
have
itself.
jurisdiction
If I
over
may,
maritime
read
education.
the
I'm fine with
content
this one
consistent
because
with the Republic Act
they're just basically making a same
10635,
pattern
otherwise
as
known
in the
as an
aviation
act
industry
establishing the
where
Maritime Industry Authority
CAAP
for Marina
has the sole
as the single
jurisdiction
maritime
of
administration
aviation
responsible for the
matters in the
implementation
Philippines.
and
Same
enforcement
goes
of the
with Marina.
CCW
So
Convention
we're okay with
and
this.
international agreements or covenants thereto. Marina shall have
I mean, several years back, Marina was not the sole authority over maritime matters in the Philippines, although they are called Maritime Authority.
Commission on Higher Education or CHED
Right.
is mandated under the law to assist the Marina in setting
Back
the
then it
standards
was
in
CHED,
monitoring the
Commission on
performance of
Higher
maritime education
Education.
programs and MHEIs, ensuring the quality maritime education, including curricula and training
Right.
programs, are structured and delivered in accordance with the written programs, methods, and media of delivery, procedures, and course materials. Further, it shall assist Marina in ensuring that international maritime degree programs are compliant with international standards prescribed under the STCW Convention and its amendments.
All right.
Next slide, please. In that the same section, in consultation with CHED, the Marina shall ensure the quality, standard, and competence of marine students and graduates, adopt and implement appropriate academic and training standards, including required learning facilities, accredit, regulate, and monitor maritime education institutions offering maritime degree programs or technical courses, close, phase out, or revoke the license or accreditation of substandard maritime education institutions or specific degree programs, courses, or training. Next slide, please.
Yeah, basically they have jurisdiction over this one.
Enhance the capacity of maritime higher education institutions to develop both international and domestic maritime degree programs. So those are some of the jurisdiction conferred to Marina by the Republic Act 12021. All of those jurisdiction conferred to Marina, there will be a corresponding Marina policies or circulars to be developed.
So basically, Marina
to give
is
effect,
now
the
the
provisions of
police
the law and
agency
its
of maritime
Next slide,
schools. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that.
Another functions conferred to Marina is for Marina to ensure that the curriculum of the MHEIs offering international maritime degrees comply with standards set forth in the STCW Convention
Right.
and all other applicable maritime and labor conventions, taking into account the IMO model courses. Another policy that is to be developed is that Marina, CHED, and NMP shall work together to mainstream gender in development in the curricula of maritime institutions and training centers.
Okay, that's kind of weird. Gender
Next slide,
and
please.
development. How does that relate on the employment of seafarers?
Another jurisdiction
I think
conferred
that's
to
pretty much
Marina
a trash kind
is
of
to accredit,
sections. They should
regulate,
have cut
and
that
monitor
out.
maritime training institutions. So,
Really?
another policy that is to be developed as mandated by the law and its IRR is for Marina, in consultation with other relevant government agencies, shall regulate the operation of all educational
Notice on
and
this
training
law that there's
institutions
lawmakers who signed up
offering
this one,
courses related to
this
seafaring
kind of
or
law. They're not
maritime
familiar with
education,
IMO. They
promote
just more
quality
like
education and
mentioned
training
it in a
that
broad
responds to the
manner,
needs
like
of the
minimum
industry
international standards
and
of
are in accordance with
competency.
the minimum
So the
international
question there
standards of
is, who
competency
sets the minimum
and
international
afford
standards of
enhanced
competency?
access to
It's
educational
basically
advancement
IMO.
and training or
But yeah, the one who
women
writes this law
industry,
is basically
women in
ignorant
seafaring
and does
industry.
not have an idea what
Next
IMO
slide,
is, I
please.
guess.
Another jurisdiction conferred to Marina is to approve non-degree maritime courses developed by maritime education or training institutions or the TESDA.
Yeah, non-degree, but everybody in the
So,
manning
for this
agency and
purpose,
ship owners
Marina
require
and
seafarers or
TESDA will
people
issue
to have a
circular on the
maritime
approval of
degree.
non-degree
This
maritime
isn't
courses
exactly
developed by
aviation
maritime
industry where
education or
everybody
training
can
institutions
walk
or TESDA.
without even have any relation to
Another
the
jurisdiction
aviation
conferred to
degree.
Marina
In
is
the
to create
maritime,
a
it's kind of the other
mechanism
way
for
around. They
the
kind of
legalization of both
prefer,
international
or
and domestic
yeah,
maritime degree
prefer
programs
people who have a maritime degree rather than the
and
non-degree maritime
non-degree
courses.
maritime courses developed by the TESDA.
Okay.
So when we talk about legalization, it is defined under the law as a harmonization of all education and training mechanisms that allow students and workers to progress between technical, vocational,
Okay, so
and
some of the people
higher
on the chat
education
room are
programs
already
or vice
basically
versa.
getting a
So,
bit emotional on
purposes
this
of
one,
the
like this
IRR,
chat. Of course,
it
this
refers
one is written in
to a system where a
Tagalog.
maritime non-degree program may lead to a domestic or
Anyway,
international
Filipino
maritime
people
degree,
who are reading this or
or
watching
a
this
domestic
understand
maritime
this
degree may
statement
lead to
here in
an
the chat.
international maritime degree. So, in other words,
He's just basically saying on the chat
legalization
here
means
is
the
that
seafarers
seafarers
or
are not, in some
now have the
extent,
options
seafarers are no
for where to begin
longer
and end
getting their
education
salaries
and
in
training,
dollars. They're basically
giving
getting,
them a pathway for career
it's
growth.
being exchanged now, forcefully, by
Next
law,
slide, please.
to be in Philippine local money, Philippine pesos rather than in
Another
dollar.
jurisdiction conferred to Marina is to regulate the fees charged by maritime educational institutions and consistent with Section 83 of the Republic Act 12021, regulate the fees charged by maritime training institutions. So, those are the list of functions or jurisdictions conferred to Marina by the law, Republic Act 12021. So, next slide, please. So, pursuant to Section 1, Rule 12 of the IRR, the Marina and CHED shall establish a transition plan.
I'm gonna type with this one. I know I
If I
shouldn't
may
be.
read the provision of the transition plan, Section 1, transitory provision, with respect to the maritime
Okay, we'll just let this
education
guy be
institutions and
on the
maritime
chat.
education programs, Marina and CHED shall establish a transition plan within a reasonable period of time after the effectivity of this IRR. So, with respect to the transition plan, the Marina and CHED is already finalizing the transition plan, to ensure an effective and seamless transfer process while minimizing disruption to existing maritime education and training programs. So, essentially, Marina will assume responsibility for all aspects of administering the BSMT and BS Mari programs, similar to CHED's role in other academic discipline. Next slide, please. Another salient provision of the Magna Carta of Seafarers is the shipboard training. This is under sections 76 to 79 of the Republic Act 12021, or if we are going to refer to the IRR, it can be found in sections 2 to 5, Rule 18. Next slide, please. Section 2, under the shipboard training, provides that consistent with the STCW Convention, Shipboard training shall be required for international maritime degree programs. Marina shall determine the applicability of
Okay, I don't
shipboard
want to get
training,
kicked out on the chat in the
including its
conference. I just
duration,
made
for domestic maritime degree programs
I just
or
want to
non-degree
troll on
programs
this
in
one.
accordance with the best practices
But
in
yeah, I'm
maritime
not gonna
education and
intervene. I'm
training.
just gonna let these people
Next slide, please.
you know, I got my own YouTube channel to sing my
Section
opinion.
3,
I'm not gonna participate.
under the same rule, provides that there shall be written agreement between the ship owner, cadet, and the maritime institution or schools, which shall embody the information, terms, and conditions of the cadetship program. The Marina shall issue the necessary guidelines for the effective implementation of this cadetship program, taking into account the nature of the maritime degree. For these sections 2 and 3 of Rule 18, the Marina will issue or revise the prevailing circular, the JCMMC number 1, series of 2023, to implement the provisions of Chapter 18, Section 75. Rule 18, Section 1 of IRR, to include applicable
Alright,
guidelines
let's
of
just
shipboard training for overseas and domestic ships.
okay. This is an
Next slide,
interesting
please.
part because I was a cadet before. I'm just checking on the reading this
For
one.
Section 4, Rule 18,
God, this is so boring.
consistent with public
Basically, this guy is just reading out what the Bible says. He's not exactly interpreting on his personal words or his own personal interpretation on what this thing is about. This Section 4 rule.
programs shall be required to have their own
God, it's so
training
boring.
ships,
I wanna.
simulators, or other similar technologies, or shall directly enter into agreements with local or international shipping companies, ship owners, or money agencies for the shipboard training programs of their students or cadets. MHCI's offering international maritime degree programs shall enroll or admit sufficient number of students or cadets proportionate to the number of training slots and their own training ships, simulators, or other similar technologies, or the number of training slots that can be accommodated by the shipping companies, ship owners, or manning agencies based on their agreement with the concerned MHCIs, provided that upon the effectivity of this IRR, MHCI shall give priority for shipboard training to students who have finished the academic requirements of their programs and signify their intent to avail of the shipboard training. Provided further that MHCI shall accommodate all previous students who have finished the academic requirements of their programs who signify the intention to avail of the shipboard
Okay,
training.
I guess the chat guy is already getting emotional
MHCI
about
shall
this
not
one.
charge the students
He's basically
any
bombarding the
tuition or
chat
matriculation
here,
fees
like what we're
for
looking
the
at
shipboard
right
training
now here.
unless conducted in the
Economics
MHCI's
rather,
own
yeah,
training ships.
economics and practical reasons.
Next slide, please.
Yeah,
Next slide.
basically it's more like a disguise. I'm just saying this one as
Section
what
5,
I interpret as a
Rule
common
18,
eyes or point of view of a
pertains to
common
requirements
seafarer,
for Philippine
Filipino
registered
seafarer.
ships on shipboard training. Section 5 provides that all Philippine registered ships operating domestically are mandated to enter into agreement with any of the MHCIs for the shipboard training of the latter's cadets for domestic maritime degree or non-degree programs. The number of cadets required to be accommodated shall be in accordance with the rules and regulations issued by the Marina.
Yeah, this one is
For
always
Philippine registered
emotionally
ships
charged.
operating internationally shall also enter into agreement with any of the MHCIs for the shipboard training of the latter's cadets. They shall be required to accommodate cadets in accordance with the STCW Convention 1978 as amended and the guidelines issued by the Marina.
Right. All right. You kind of
for
stuttered.
This purpose, all Philippine registered ships, whether
Right.
operating domestically or internationally, conducting shipboard training shall appoint or employ a training officer who shall ensure that the training programs are compliant with the established shipboard training curriculum. Ship owner may charge reasonable fees for the training of cadets. Noting the urgency of the full implementation of this IRR, the Marina shall issue guidelines on the amount of fees that may be charged by ship owners on the training of cadets. The Marina shall also provide incentives to owners of commercially operating domestic ships reconfigured for use in the shipboard training of substantial number of cadets. Marina shall also issue the appropriate guidelines for the grant of such incentives after consultation with the relevant stakeholders. Next slide. Section 6 of under the shipboard training, compliance period and penalty for violation. This section provides that the MHCI shall comply with the provisions of Section 78 of Republic Act 12021 within 3 years from the effectivity of the IRR. In no case shall MHCIs enter into an agreement with any other MHCI to comply with the requirements of the preceding sections. Failure to comply with the provisions of Section 78 of Republic Act 12021 within 3 years shall result in cancellation of the MHCI's government license or recognition. Next slide. Section 7, non-discrimination in shipboard training. Cadets shall be accorded equal access to training and shall not be discriminated against for shipboard training. Discrimination on the basis of race, sex, gender, religion, and political opinion, taking into consideration the inherent requirements of the job or undertaking, shall be prohibited. So another policy to be developed by Marina is a requirement that MHCI shall formulate and ensure that the policies on gender and development are in place to promote women's rights to adequate training and opportunities free from discrimination, harassment, and bullying. Next slide, please. Section 8. This section provides that the Marina, in consultation with CHED, may establish programs to incentivize MHCIs to have their own training ships, simulators, and equivalent technology, and adapt to the changing needs of the maritime industry. Once established, the amount necessary for the implementation of the incentive program shall be included in the General Appropriations Act of GAA, provided that Marina shall review the existing rules and regulations to allow optimum use of simulators owned by the MHCIs subject to Rule 18, Section 6 of this IRR. Next slide, please. Section 9 pertains to the regulation of training programs and fees. So this section provides that the Maritime Industry Board or Marina Board, created under Presidential Decree number 474, otherwise known as Maritime Industry Decree of 1974, shall be authorized under Republic Act 12021 to regulate the fees.
Okay, I'm being bad here. I know. I'm kind of trolling on the chat, but okay.
Required under the CCW.
It's kind of weird. I'm kind of trolling on this one.
Industry boards shall ensure that the fees charged for these training courses are reasonable. For this purpose, the Secretary of DMW shall be a regular and voting member of the Maritime Industry Board to ensure the protection of the rights and welfare of seafarers on board ships operating internationally. So the power to regulate does not extend to non-mandatory training or courses. In this regard, the Marina shall regularly publish the mandatory training or courses required by the CCW Convention as amended. So the Maritime Industry Board also shall be authorized to regulate the fees charged by maritime educational institutions. Next slide, please. So, policy to be developed, issue guidelines on the regulation of fees charged by MHCIs and MTIs consistent with Section 83 of Republic Act 12021. So, also, this is to be included in the transition plan with CHED.
I'm kind of trolling. I know that's kind of bad. God, this seminar of this
Rule 18,
this guy is just
non-degree courses for seafarers.
he's just basically reading out this like
subject to the
to be honest, he's really reading this one literally
develop
on
and
this
establish
section. Like he's
non-degree courses
kind of
on
reading
maritime
this
education and training
from a drill
to
manual.
sustain this mandate under
From
Republic Act
a shipboard
7796,
abandonment drill manual.
otherwise
Oh
known
my
as the
goodness.
TESDA Act of
But anyway,
1994.
let's. I'm not like I
Non-degree
said.
holder
Well, I'm entitled to my own
seafarers
opinion
may be
because this is
required
my
to
own
undergo
channel.
shipboard training
It's just
for
that it's kind of
purposes of
funny
employment in
that
the domestic maritime industry.
this guy is from
In
PMMI
vessels
and
below
an
the
attorney,
minimum
but he's
gross
kind of
tonnage
reading it
and horsepower
here,
required under the
word
guidelines
by
of the
word.
Marina in accordance with the international
Like he's not
standards.
basically interpreting
Provided
it
that
on his
consistent
point
with
of
such
view.
non-degree
He's not
programs
basically interpreting
may
it for
serve as a
on his
preparatory
point of
course
view on
or may
how
be
a common
considered
Filipino
as an associate
seafarer
degree,
should
leading
interpret
to full
this.
international or domestic
Yeah, it's
maritime
more
degree
technical and a lot
programs
of jargon, but
through
how
a
does that
ladderized system of
translate to a
education and training
typical
which
common Filipino
Republic Act
seafarer?
10647,
So in other words, it's more
otherwise known
like
as
speak
the
Tagalog or
Literacy and
something.
Education Act of
You'll be
2014
better off speaking in
and Republic
Tagalog.
Act number
Oh my goodness.
10968, otherwise known as the Philippine Qualifications Framework. Next slide, please. So another policy to be developed, issue a joint circular between Marina and TESDA on the approval of non-degree maritime courses developed by Maritime Education or Training Institution or the TESDA. And also,
Yeah, okay, so
mechanism
Compliant
for the
Partners is already
non-degree
warned the
maritime courses
moderator that
developed by
the
TESDA will be
topic should be related to
created by
maritime training and
Marina in
education,
consultation with the
not on the previous episode. Okay, fine, point taken.
Next slide, please.
I guess they kind of got butthurt on that.
Section 1.7.
Okay, I'm not gonna
Rule
go comment
3.
on that anyway. I had my fun, so let's
Consultation.
not
So, seafarers
ruin
and
this conference.
maritime stakeholders, including women seafarers both on board and in the Philippines, shall be adequately consulted before the adoption of any maritime policy, executive issuances, rule or regulation, or enactment of any maritime law that may directly affect the seafarers, their families, and the beneficiaries. For purposes of consultation, the Maritime Industry Tripartite Council or
Yeah, let's be civil
MINTC,
about this. Some
under
people
the
will
Section
probably
13
about
of
be
Republic
salty,
Act
so I'm not gonna
1961,
go. Anyway, I had
shall be
my
convened by the DMW
comments
no
on
later
my
than
own
45
channel,
days
so
before any proposed maritime policy
yeah, I'm
issuance
okay
or
with this
rules
one. I'll let them just
or
talk
regulations
this
affecting
one out
seafarers
on
and
their
their
chat
families
room.
and beneficiaries may be promulgated. Now, for this provision of the law, there is an instruction from the top management of Marina that even in the drafting of any circular, all concerned stakeholders will be consulted, so that in the drafting phase, the diverse perspective of our stakeholders may identify potential problems.
And yeah, I guess as a VTuber, we should not
or
get
it may
so
also
much
create
attention
new
on this
ideas
one. So we'll just
or
keep
shape
it low
the policies
profile.
that are practical and effective and ultimately may address the concerns of the stakeholders. Next slide, please. So in summary, training in education of maritime professionals under Republic Act 12021 or the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers can be again summarized into 4 subjects. The jurisdiction of marine over education and training, shipboard training, regulation of training programs and fees, development and establishment of non-degree courses on maritime education and training.
Okay.
Next slide,
Right.
please. So, just a summary of what I discussed a while ago. Jurisdiction of Marina over maritime education and training. Ito na yung jurisdiction of Marina. Accredit, regulate, and monitor maritime education institutions. Ensure the quality standards and competence. Adopt and implement appropriate academic standards, training standards. Close, phase out, or revoke the license or accreditation of substandard maritime education institutions. Enhance the capacity of maritime higher education institutions. Ensure the curriculum of MHCIs offering international maritime
Yeah,
degrees
this is
comply with
very
the
interesting
standards.
chat on this one.
Approve
What is the
non-degree
rationale
maritime
why we
courses
have 2 degrees?
developed by
Domestic maritime degree and international
marine
maritime
institutions
degree.
or the TESDA.
I mean, it was supposed to streamline the education
create
system, but
a
having
mechanism for the
segregation, it
address
doesn't exactly
of both
streamline
international and
the
domestic
education
maritime
system.
degree
It's
programs
more like
and degree maritime
yeah, it's more
courses.
like
Regulate the fees charged by maritime
making it
educational
more
institutions.
complicated.
Next slide.
Yeah, this guy has a good point about this one. What
So,
is the
with these
rationale why we
functions
have 2
now
degrees,
under the
domestic
Marina,
maritime degree and international maritime degree? Yeah. Magna Carta
Just-
for
this is
Filipino
just, my
seafarers was
personal opinion,
supposed to
I personally
streamline
believe that
or
this could be the effect of such
what do you call
functions of
this in
decision
English?
given to So there will be a
Consolidate the
specialized,
maritime
oversight,
education. But for what is
because
happening, they're not
Marina
exactly
has a
consolidating it.
specialized
They're more like
knowledge and
separating
expertise in
it.
maritime education
In other
and
words, it's
training
more problem rather
that may
than
lead
it's
to,
not making
more
it simple.
relevant
It's
and
making it,
industry-aligned,
the
curriculum
training and
standards
education more
policies.
complicated.
So there will be a streamlined administration, consolidating the administration of maritime education programs under Marina.
Yeah, they said it so themselves. It's part of here. Streamline administration, but it says streamline, but they're kind of separating it. So it's kind of contradicting on each other.
Efficient administration and quicker response to industry needs.
And I'm not gonna comment with this one, or I'm not gonna participate
International and
with this
CCW international
kind of
compliance.
discussion. I have my own
Marina's
channel,
jurisdiction
YouTube channel, to
over
discuss my
maritime
point of
education and training
view with this
strengthened
one.
the focus on meeting
So on
international
this part,
standards and enhanced
Magna
the global
Carta
recognition
law
and
for Filipino
competitiveness of
seafarers has
Filipino
a
seafarers.
lot of huge plot holes, and this is one of the plot
There will
holes.
be a
It
focus
says streamline
policy
administration
development,
of maritime
Marina's
education,
Marina's
but
jurisdiction
it
over
says
maritime
here as
education
well
and
that they're
training
kind of separating
to
the
tailor the
requirements for
policies to address
domestic
the
maritime and
specific
international
challenges and
maritime
opportunities
degree
within, the
or
maritime
college degree.
sector that would lead to more effective
So
and
there's a lot
targeted
of plot holes
interventions.
here. It's so easily seen that even a common seafarer like me could see it that there's a plot hole.
Marina's jurisdiction over maritime education and training would optimize the use of resources, eliminate duplication of efforts that could result in better allocation of funds, personnel, and other resources dedicated to maritime education. Enhanced monitoring and evaluation. Marina's jurisdiction over maritime education and training could implement more rigorous monitoring and evaluation mechanisms to ensure that maritime education institutions maintain high standards that could lead to better outcomes for students or trainees and the industry as a whole.
Yeah, my comment
Overall,
really
transferring
did
the
piss some guys at
functions
Kabayan Partners.
to
You could say
Marina
it.
can
May I remind
ultimately,
everyone that this
benefit
topic is,
students
or
of
this
the
episode,
institutions
maritime training and education.
and the
We
maritime
request to
industry
everyone
as a
to
whole.
limit your comments related to
Next slide,
this
please.
topic today. I guess it's kind of butthurt when it comes to that.
Just a summary.
But anyway, we did
under
make the
seafood
message and it
training,
was seen by 120 participants.
um,
So, yeah.
written
Anyway, I
agreement,
did make a point on that.
the requirement for MHCI to have own training ships, simulators, or other similar technologies,
Right?
or shall directly enter into
Simulators,
agreements with local or
basically
international
video
companies.
games. Yeah, that's the general
Priority,
term of
for seafood
simulators.
training
Simulators
to
is
students who have
basically
finished
more like
academic
video
requirements of
games.
their programs,
Educational
and signify the
video
intent or avail of
games,
the seafood
not
training.
for leisure video games like
Accommodation
Nintendo
of all
or
previous
Xbox.
students who have finished the academic requirements of their programs to signify their intentions to avail of the seafood training. Next slide, please. Ayan. MHCI shall not charge the students any tuition or matriculation fees for the shipboard training unless conducted in the MHCI's own training ships. Mandating all Philippine registered ships operating domestically to enter into agreement with any of the MHCIs for the shipboard training of the latter's cadets for domestic maritime degree or non-degree programs.
Anyway, like I
Mandate
said, this
to,
is a conference. They're
Philippine
not
registered
required
ships
to
operating
answer our questions
internationally
or comments.
enter
They're
into
just here
agreement with any
to,
of the MHCIs for the
well,
shipboard training of the
announce
latter's
this
cadets.
law that has been in
Appointment
effect, and they have to
employment of
announce it
training
by
officer for
detail
Philippine
by
registered
detail.
ships,
They're not here to
whether
discuss it.
operating domestically or
So yeah, that's the
internationally
main purpose of
for
this
the,
conference.
conducting shipboard training. Next slide. Marina to issue guidelines on the amount of fees that may be charged by ship owners on the training of cadets. The Marina to provide incentives to owners of commercially operating domestic ships reconfigured for the use in the shipboard training of a substantial number of cadets. Compliance period and penalty for violation of Section 6, Rule 18. Non-discrimination of shipboard training. Next slide. Establish programs to incentivize MHCI to have their own training ships, simulators, and
Yeah,
incubation
even
technology
one
and
guy
adapt
here on the
changing
chat
needs
is
of the
asking
maritime
Captain
industry
Messias Ordina Jr. He's
and
basically
develop of
questioning what is the difference between
development of domestic
international
maritime degree
and
programs and
maritime
non-degree
domestic
programs.
programs.
So those are the summary of
Yeah, that's
provisions of
also
the
one
IRA under
good
the seafood
point.
training.
If you would take a,
Next slide.
on it on more closely, they're basically there's no difference. So why
Ito
separate it?
naman, under the regulation of training programs and fees,
Yeah, it in itself, the Magna Carta has some points that are
authorizing the
basically
Maritime Industry
contradicting
Board
on each other.
or
There are
Marina
some
Board to
sections.
regulate the fees imposed by
And
Marina affiliated
anyway,
maritime training
like I said, it
institutions
was the law. They're not here to discuss
for
this. They're
maritime
here
training
to
process and
announce
programs.
what was made
Inclusion
law.
of the Secretary of the
They don't have any
DMW as a
obligations to
regular and
answer
voting
our
members of the
questions.
Maritime Industry Board to ensure the protection of the rights and welfare of seafarers on board ships operating internationally. Next slide. So, also this is the summary under the development and establishment of non-degree courses on maritime education and training subject to the approval of Marina in consultation with CHED. The non-degree holder seafarers may be required to undergo shipboard training for purposes of employment and domestic maritime industry and vessels below the minimum gross tonnage and horsepower required under the guidelines of Marina in compliance with the international standards. Non-degree programs may serve as a preparatory course or may be considered as an associate degree leading to full international domestic maritime degree through a ladderized system.
So yeah, they're just here to announce
So,
and
those are the
tell us
provisions
here.
under the law.
We're just,
And,
you know, they're just asking
under
us
the law,
to,
it's a,
obey on what they
that
told
pertains to
us.
the maritime education training.
That's simple.
With regards to the timelines of the implementing guidelines of Marina that are to be developed, per initial discussions with the Marina top management, most if not all will take effect within this year. So next slide. That would be all for the training and education of maritime professionals under the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers.
All right.
Ends my presentation.
You know, whoever wrote
Once
this
again, maraming
kind
salamat
of
po, mga
part or
kabayan.
article or section of this Magna Carta law clearly has a lot of
Attorney
discrimination for
Terazona.
domestic
We
seafarers.
discussed about training and
I mean,
education of
I'm an
maritime
international
professionals.
seafarer, but
We
I
will
don't
pause for a
discriminate.
break, and when
I
we come
guess,
back, we will answer your
Yeah, I guess that
questions.
PM, in my opinion,
You
did
can
really have to
still post your
distinguish it
questions
without
via
telling it to
the
discriminate.
comment section of Zoom or the chat box of Zoom or Facebook live comment section.
Wow.
We will only answer questions pertaining to our episode for today, which is training and education of maritime professionals. And let us be mindful and let me just reiterate that let's make this a safe space for everyone to be respectful in your comment and in your queries. And when we come back, we will answer your
Yeah, even the
We'll be right back.
even the MC here is having a hard time calming people about what they're discussing.
Bibira ang mga hamon ng kumakarerang alon. Pangarap ng pamilya ang aking dala. Piling ko ang dagat para sa kanila.
Well, honestly, I kind of like this song. It's just too bad that this is more like a ship owner propaganda.
Bawat paglakbay may hinahabol. Bawat pagsampa handa sa hamon. Matibay ang dibdib. Matibay ang loob sa bawat paggamit sa timor ng buhay. Papunta sa kwentong makulay. Lumalayag sa ikot ng mundo. Lumalayag sa ikot ng mundo. Paggamit sa timor ng buhay. Ikaw ako ang tatlo ng
So basically,
Matibay ang dibdib, matibay ang loob sa bawat pagkabig sa timog ng buhay. Papunta sa kwentong makulay, lumalayag sa ikot ng mundo, lumalayag.
wow, can you believe it? It's almost already an hour that we're discussing this. You know, Magna Carta law may seem to call itself a champion of Filipino seafarers' rights, but from what things are being discussed right now, the Magna Carta law in itself is not pro Filipino seafarer, or it's not, at least from my point of view, it's not pro to your typical Filipino seafarer, and the laws itself contradict each other, and there's a lot of plot holes. And here on this discussion itself, this discussion about regarding maritime training and education, there's already a plot hole here because they're kind of distinguishing the part of the difference between a domestic shipping or the requirements for domestic shipping education and the international maritime requirements for the international educational requirements for the international maritime, which basically, it's kind of contradicting. And what's more of it is that they kind of said that it should be non-discriminating, but from what we're hearing at right now, well, so much for discrimination, they're just kind of telling that they want to discriminate indirectly. They're not telling it directly. Like I said, that's the thing about this kinds of law. It always has a lot of wordplay. And if you're not careful on this wordplay, well, they're not basically not favorable. If you're not careful, you're gonna miss out important details about the Filipino seafaring rights. And what happened here, whoever reviewed and passed this law, they kind of forgot those plot details that what I was saying. So yeah, that's what happened. They kind of forgot that those plot lines, and it was only until it was enacted as law that people started noticing, or common folks like me started noticing those plot holes.
To the Q&A portion, and we are still joined by Attorney Jenny Terasola. Good afternoon, sir. Attorney?
Good afternoon uli, mga kabayan.
All right, so here we go. Let's start with the first question. How does the Magna Carta address gaps in maritime education, particularly in meeting international standards like STCW? May I repeat?
I don't think they addressed it. It's just basically reiterating, or just basically, they're making just copy paste of what was already written before. It does not allow any changes. And what's more, these things, they don't really, they kind of add more burden to the training and education of Filipino seafarers rather than pointing out and securing employment for Filipino seafarers. You can be a god mode when it comes to training and certification, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're 100% certified and well competent. That doesn't guarantee that you'll get a job right away after you finish college. And they kind of overlook that kind of detail.
And mapofocus
of course, I was just saying
sa STCW ang ating mga policies, ano. So I think with this Magna Carta,
even the attorney, this one, they kind of,
thank you.
He's kind of also did not answer it, or kind of missed out the details about this one.
How will the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers enhance the training and education of maritime professionals? I will repeat. How will the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers enhance the training and education of maritime
basically a pointless detail. They forgot the basics. They got so complicated that they forgot the basic solutions. They should have what they call Occam's razor or something like that. The most complex solutions can be solved with the most complex problems can be solved with the simplest of solutions. They should have went back in that and rolled over this law, or rolled back this law and reviewed it carefully.
Yung Authority of Marina, nabigyan ng mandate for regulation of fees,
Yeah, I think that's okay. Marina will be the sole governing authority of maritime affairs in the Philippines. That's a good spot. That's basically consolidating all maritime affairs, so even the education and training. That's a good step. That's actually a positive one. But even though they kind of consolidated, there's kinds of stuff. It's still the big question remains if the seafarer is employable or not. You can enhance the training, but that does not necessarily mean that you guarantee employment.
It's now fall under the Marina, and we can implement. The Marina can implement yung policies under the Marina Board. Yun lang muna sa ngayon na masasagot ko.
Anyway, yeah, I think that's okay. His answer is very much correct because it's still not official yet. Marina has not made an official statement about this fact, so it's still, in other words, it's still being thought out.
Where can the documents be submitted for approval? Is Marina ready for this matter?
NMMA, sorry,
I think this is an organization. Let me check.
So yung isang maritime training maritime institution is reviewing. Sorry, sayang ko lang po.
Okay,
Pakiulit lang ng tanong, sir.
Sure, sir. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, even the attorney is shooting bricks right now. Considering he's already an attorney, he's kind of shooting bricks right now when it comes to answering these kinds of questions.
And where can the documents be submitted for approval? Is Marina ready for this matter?
Okay, so I believe itong MMA is one of the MHEIs, accredited MHEIs So magkakaroon po ng issuance na moratorium or
God, oh my goodness, you're kind of being caught on actual live camera. But I guess I don't blame that one. Probably he just got caught off guard. I myself get caught off guard most of the time. And from the looks of it, on his physical body language, he's really having a hard time interpreting and answering this question. So basically, this attorney is mostly he just only specialized basically on implementation or interpretation, but he's not kind of good on when it comes to answering these kinds of questions. So it's okay. It's more of a skill issue for an attorney. I didn't blame him. He's struggling to answer this question.
Yung functions ng CHED. So all those enhancement to the curriculum will be now submitted to Marina.
Yeah, and there's a follow-up question, attorney. It says, is Marina ready for this matter?
Yeah, I think they're ready. Those guys, I think, are ready. They're just kind of finalizing the details about it.
We need to do it.
Yeah,
We need to do it.
Okay, all right. Okay, moving forward, the next question is a marine engineer's license considered equivalent to a PRC civil engineer's license in terms of professional standing? I will repeat.
No.
Is a marine engineer's license considered equivalent or equal to a PRC civil
It's basically
engineer's
no,
license
because
in terms of professional
those two
standing?
things are kind of different. One licensing, his license is Marina. The other is PRC. And we have a separate course for that. And those civil engineers specialize in civil engineering works. So I don't think that is the
BSMT and BS Mari pa rin ang tawag, no? Bachelor
so I don't think that's
and Bachelors of Science in Marine
yeah, I think the main question is no.
So
that's short of the question.
Professionals. They're still professionals.
Oh my goodness, the attorney is shooting brick right now.
Civil engineering, mechanical
Oh my
engineering,
goodness, oh my god, I can't believe he's shooting brick right now and answering those questions.
Okay.
Right.
We still have one more question here. What is the rationale why we have 2 degrees, i.e. domestic maritime degree and
Yeah, that's
international
a good
maritime
question.
degree?
Why it's
And what is
supposed
the
to be
difference between
Magna Carta was supposed to
international
streamline
domestic
that.
maritime programs? I will repeat. What is the rationale why we have 2 degrees Example, domestic maritime degree and international maritime degree. And what is the difference between international and domestic maritime programs?
First, the domestic maritime degree program is mandated by the law, no, yung Magna Carta for Seafarers. And I'm hoping na mag-succeed itong program na ito. Kasi, well, ang
I guess Marina is basically just experimenting on something that is, well, let's just say discriminatory. I think this was discriminatory. They were saying that not discriminatory, but by the way, how they categorize seafarers from domestic to international, it's kind of like contradicting.
But mayroon pa ring pagkakaiba slightly, so that's why probably ito naman kasi nasa batas na we will tailor, yun ang napapag-usapan, we will tailor fit the domestic maritime degree program to the needs of the Philippine, as to the needs of the Philippine archipelagic nation, So, yun lang, sir,
Oh, well.
Well, nangangailangan din ang mga domestic shipping industry natin ng mga competent seafarers. Thank you, sir.
Any last message, sir, with regards to our topic today, training and education of maritime professionals? For those who just joined us now and watching us on Facebook Live.
Why
sir,
it's separate?
Sa lahat po na nakikinig, well, marami tayong magiging concern because this is a new concept. Mayroong mga ilalabas ng mga palisiya, marina, bagong palisiya, and we need your help.
So much discrimination policy.
Ang batas po, ang Magna Carta for Seafarers ay meron po provision doon na kumbaga nire-require kami sa marina, if we are going to formulate policies and kung ano man policy circulars or advisories, we have to consult it to you. Hingi kami sa inyo ng mga comments, suggestions to improve the policies that being drafted. Yan lang po ang masasabi ko sa ngayon, sir.
And how do you intend to do this consultation, Attorney Arizona?
Sorry, sir?
How do Marina intend to do this consultation? You mentioned...
Well,
will there be a forum? Or
there will be a forum. There will be a... hindi ko pa masasabi sa ngayon, but may info, of course, may information siguro probably ipopost sa social.
Yeah, I just made a point here on the chat. Wasn't Magna Carta supposedly streamline education and training? Why it's separate?
Stakeholders to attend.
Oh well, so much for non-discrimination policy.
Consultation for such,
honestly, there's still some obvious plot holes of Magna Carta law, and some of them
Attorney
even
Teresa.
contradictable. I think it's not.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Moving on, we will now be hearing special messages from two special messages actually for this afternoon. But for those who just joined us, this is still Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers 101, a webinar series spearheaded by Kabayan Party List in partnership.
Well, anyway, it's a good thing I'm a VTuber, so at least my identity is protected. I don't want to get exposed. So yeah, I'm exploiting the protection of being anonymous as a VTuber. So yeah, that's one reason why I want to be a VTuber as well. It's more of a practical choice rather than an aesthetic and entertainment choice.
Speaker for this afternoon. Okay. We have Miss Lailani Lala Tolentino Rajon, is the country manager of the Mission to Seafarers in the Philippines since 2019. She's responsible for overseeing the mission's comprehensive operations, programs, and services nationwide. Her more than 20 years of combined experience in leadership, corporate projects,
well, they're not actually answering it, but that's okay. They're not obliged to answer our comments or questions because they're here just only to tell us and announce that what the law is. They're not here to make a discussion or this is not an open for debate. So that's okay if they're kind of avoiding those questions.
With valuable skills to address the diverse needs of this community. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Lala Tolentino Raho.
For more than 160 years, the Mission to Seafarers has been working tirelessly to promote the health, safety, and well-being of seafarers and their families. Today, we're one of the world's largest port welfare charities, serving seafarers in more than 200 ports across 50 countries. With over 90% of our goods and fuels transported by sea, so much of our prosperity depends on merchant shipping. And the men and women who keep this vital sector running need to know, when they are out at sea and far away from home, that somebody is looking out for them. They need to feel seen, heard, and understood. At the heart of our work is our ship visiting program. Our network of chaplains and volunteers make over 60,000 ship visits each year. This gives seafarers the chance to talk about their mental health, any concerns they have about life at home, and to access free communication with their loved ones. And for crew at sea, we provide digital chaplaincy services, available to seafarers 24/7, wherever they and their families are. Life at sea can be challenging. Seafarers spend months away from their family, and during their time away, face the real
Anyway,
risks
this is
of
the final
piracy, the
webinar
trauma of
series, so I can
abandonment,
really,
and even shipwreck.
I can really
At
say
the
what I
mission,
want. I
we're
don't
dedicated
think
to
it will
advocating
affect
for
me in some
seafarers
ways.
around the world, offering support and practical assistance wherever we're needed. And when they are in port, our Flying Angel Seafarer Centres are there to help crews relax. They can call or email their families, play games, enjoy home comforts, and buy supplies. Over 400,000 visit our centres each year. We know that it's not just seafarers who face hardships. That's why we work to support seafarers' families back home as well, through our local family support networks and educational programs like We Care. Welfare, support, assistance, care. Whatever the situation, the Mission to Seafarers is here to look out for some of the world's most invisible workers.
Yes, good afternoon, and thank you, RJ. Good afternoon. Thank you very much to the organizers of this very relevant discussion of the Magna Carta for the Filipino Seafarers webinar series. Of course, to the Honorable Representative Salo, Ma'am Sonia Maladuan of Marina, the leaders of the government agencies and private organizations, industry colleagues, and friends. At higit sa lahat po, ang ating mga Filipino seafarers at kanilang mga pamilya, magandang hapon po at happy Valentine's. The Mission to Seafarers, as you have seen in the video, has been serving the seafarers and their families for almost 200 years now in 50 countries. Furthermore, we also advocate for the betterment and of safety and
I was kind of thinking, is she in any way
the passing
connected
of the Magna
to
Carta for the
Captain
Filipino
Rahon
seafarers and its
or something like that?
rules and regulations
I mean,
are
Captain
indeed
Rahon
a
was
step
involved in
forward to
the Mission to
achieving our hopes
Seafarers.
in
But anyway, I
safeguarding
guess it's just my
the rights and
curiosity.
welfare of the Filipino seafarers. The brave men and women who remain to be in the forefront of the industry. We stand proud with you, our dear seafarers, as you sail the vast ocean and fulfill your duties. Your skills and competencies are unmatched, and it is just right that those be kept in the highest standard in accordance with the certification required from you. There should be no room for complacency. Instead, the will for continuous growth and development. However, as many would say, there are other issues and there are really problems. We all acknowledge as well that no organizations or agencies can stand alone to hone this profession. Hence, it is always a synergy of every stakeholder, be it government or private, and of course the seafarers, that will make you, our dear Filipino seafarers, the most preferred in the world. As earlier said by the Marina Administrator, Ms. Sonia Maladuan, we can make it through cooperation, collaboration, and supporting each other. Hence, we in the Mission to Seafarers, we remain to be available for sincere service and provision of support to the seafarers and their families, regardless of their faith or beliefs, nationality, and rank. We claim no profit, but act with integrity and impartiality towards our charitable objectives. And so, with gratitude and with the grace of our Lord, we humble ourselves as we continue to care for the seafarers around the world and their families at home. Congratulations once again for this meaningful event. Mabuhay at saludo po sa inyo, mga kabaro. Maraming salamat po.
Ma'am, please, that's totally unnecessary, ma'am. We're not military. You shouldn't salute us. Just a simple hi and wave on your hand will do.
Same here, RJ. Thank you.
I don't know. I just kind of find it awkward that Madam is kind of
That was
saluting
Miss
us.
Lailani Lala Tolentino
I'm not saying it's wrong.
country
It's just that I
manager
kind of find
of
it
the
weird
Mission
because
to
we're
Seafarers
civilians.
in
I mean, we're
the
seafarers. We're
Philippines.
civilians.
At this point,
We're not
the
supposed to be
special
saluted.
message.
You're not
will
supposed
be
to salute
coming-
us.
which will be coming from the country manager of the International Seafarers Welfare and Assistance Network, or ISWA. No other than Mr. Marvil Cullen Espago. Mr. Espago is a maritime professional with 3 years of experience as a deck officer on board bulk carrier ships manned by NYK Field Ship Management. After
Great,
graduating
another
from the Maritime
corporal,
Asia and the Pacific
corporal
Army.
guy.
Mr. Spago spent 2 years conducting outreach projects.
Yeah, it's kind of
across
funny
northern
that the
and
only
central
ones attending
Luzon,
here are
mostly to
corporals,
help indigenous
you know,
communities.
corporate
His
staff,
advocacy organization,
and you don't
Passion
see any
Projects, has
common,
helped
common
1,487
Filipino
students
seafarer
among 14
participating here or
schools,
even attending here. Or
activated
maybe there is
197
someone,
volunteers,
there are also
and
common
worked
Filipino
with
seafarers
61
attending this one, but
partner
they rather kept their
and
mouth shut and not,
organizations. He
not
also holds
drive their
several
attention because,
leadership and
of course,
membership
they're
roles
using
in
their real
Amos of Youth
identity.
Network,
Compared to me, I'm not
IDF
using my
Youth
real,
Young
I'm a
Seafarers
VTuber.
Network, Global Union Working Group for Young Workers and New Forms of Work, and the Outstanding Maritime Students of the Philippines Alumni Community. The U.S. Department of State has also chosen him as one of the professional fellows in
Yeah.
2024's YSEALI Professional Fellowship Program under the Civic Engagement Cohort. Other than seafaring, Mr. Spago also dabbled in education and educational technology. Seeking the merger of his passion and profession, Mr. Spago was fortunate to be the country manager of International Seafarers Welfare and Assistance Network, or ISWAN, in the Philippines. In his capacity, he orchestrates the execution of ISWAN's international work programs within the region, such as the 24/7 free and confidential seafarer help hotlines, financial assistance programs, and other initiatives fostering the welfare of seafarers and their families. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Mr. Marvil Cullen Espago. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Sir RJ. Grabe yung introduction.
Oo.
Pero magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat po sa pag-iimbita sa akin at sa ICE1 po, no, dito sa inyong
Yeah, ISWAN is
na event.
basically a
Di ko
non-government
masyadong papapanin yung
organization
mensahe
that
ko
helps
dahil
seafarers,
sobrang
if I
bitok na
recall
nung
correctly.
mga natutunan at narinig natin mula sa mga mungkahi at presentasyon nila Honorable Sonia Malaluan, Attorney Terrazola, si Ma'am Lala kanina, at syempre mamaya rin maririnig natin si Congressman Salo. Una siguro gusto ko magpasalamat sa lahat ng bumubuo ng Republic Act 12021 o mas kilala natin sa pangalang Magna Carta Filipino Seafarers, lahat ng mga authors and signees, syempre ang Kabayan Party List, no, led by Congressman Ron Salo, at pati lahat ng mga ahensya at organisasyon na naging parte sa pagbuo nito. Gusto ko rin magbigay pugay sa lahat ng nasa industriya ng maritime welfare. Narinig natin kanina si Ma'am Lala from Mission to Seafarers at naririnig niyo po ako ngayon from ICE1, pero marami po kami na patuloy na nagseserbisyo para sa inyo pong mga seafarers at pati na rin sa inyong mga pamilya. Nakita ko po kanina dito sa Zoom natin, no, yung Stella Maris or AOS, ITF, Gold Foundation, Seamen's Christians Friends Society, Sailor Society, CFAM, at marami pa pong iba, no, ng mga welfare organization. Pasasalamat rin sa lahat ng bumubuo ng webinar series na ito. Amusup, Alma, JMG, FAME, UFS, CFAM International, Intership, Navigation at ang lahat ng mga media partners. Nalulugod ako na ang dami ring seafarers na nandito sa Zoom. Marahil pati na rin dun sa social media channels kung saan nakastream itong webinar series natin.
Yeah, typically on
isang
Facebook.
Marino, kung narinig niyo po yung introduction kanina, kaya alam ko na
Oh, okay.
malaking
My
bagay
apologies.
na
I wasn't
tayo
really
ay
exactly
patuloy
paying
na
attention in that
informed,
part.
no? Sabi nga
My
dun
bad,
sa
my bad.
napanood ko no, sa isang play, be in the room where it happens. Dapat lagi tayong nasa room o parte tayo ng mga transisyon at pagbabago na nangyayari sa industriya natin. Kasi mas magkakaroon tayo ng kapangyarihan na isulong yung ating mga sarili, magnabiga sa mga tuntunin ng ating mga trabaho. Pero syempre, other than our work, no,
Okay, there must be a problem on
syempre,
the
andyan din ang mga welfare
connection
organization
on
at
that.
napakadaming mga ahensya na para malaman din natin kung ano yung mga suporta at serbisyo na nakalaan para sa atin from those agencies. Kami naman sa ICE1 o International Seafarers Welfare and Assistance Network ay nandito para punan yung mga patlang. We have our 24/7 free multilingual and confidential helplines no, na pwede po ninyong tawagan while on board or even on shore. At hindi lang po yan for seafarers, no, pati rin po yan sa cover din po ang inyong mga family members. Multilingual po siya, so kung mas komportable tayo na gamitin yung ating vernacular, Tagalog o Bisaya o Kapampangan o whatever language we're comfortable with, you can request no, doon po sa ating mga helpline operators or mga counselors. Nabanggit din po kanina ni Sir RJ na meron kaming mga financial assistance programs na para po sa seafarers and sa family members po ninyo, especially pag nasa emergency or mga dire situations po kayo. Marami pa po kaming initiative sa ICE1. If you visit one of our social media channels, you'll get to know and pwede po kayo mag-join sa aming mga services and initiatives. Sa pagtatapos, gusto kong makidiwang no, sa aking mga kapwa kabaro. Bilang isang
this is kind of contradicting on this one. They said that the steps are being taken to increase accessibility shipboard training programs for all Filipino seafarers, especially in remote areas for those without sufficient financial resources. This is my question. In what way? They're not providing free, like say, some free education or anything, or even subsidizing education and maritime training for seafarers. So I don't think there's no logic on this chat here. All that we hear right now is basically add more burden and add more qualifications on how a seafarer, on how to qualify to be a Filipino seafarer. That does not help the seafarer in, it does not help the seafarer in lightening its financial burden. So that's it. It's kind of contradicting. I don't think that the Magna Carta is basically helping the financial resources of would-be seafarers. What is happening right now is just they're basically adding more burden, more fees, more training, and it does not help the financial burden. It basically adds more. It basically is exactly the opposite of what it's supposed to be, or what they're saying that in or what they're saying it in propaganda. It's basically exactly the opposite. It's kind of a lot of plot holes, a lot of contradicting facts here.
And well-thought message. And that was Mr. Marvil Calenespago, the country manager of International Seafarers Welfare and Assistance Network, or ICE1. Okay, moving forward, we will now be almost end of our program.
Thank God.
We will now move to the closing remarks, and I believe is Congressman Salo with us now?
Congressman Salo, the author of Magna Carta for Seafarers.
Who is the representative of Kabayan party list in the 17th and 18th and 19th Congress. He finished his Bachelor of Arts in Psychology at UP Diliman, where he graduated cum laude. He also obtained his law degree at the same university.
Yeah, he's cum laude, alright. He's pretty much knowledgeable on those facts, but he did not study on a very specific topic, like the life of a seafarer and the details surrounding the work and profession of being a seafarer. He kind of did not study on that part.
Development Management at the Development Academy of the Philippines.
Yeah, it's undisputed that he has good credentials. He's magna cum laude, but he kind of left out a few details specifically on the maritime profession. So I think he did not research it carefully. He did research, but he kind of like just browsed it for what, 2 to 3 days, and then moved on, and wrote the law. Anyway, that's what I think what happened there.
Congress are the Magna Carta of Filipino Migrant Workers and the Migrant Workers Relations Commission. He is married to Dr. Jewel Gay R. Salo, and they are blessed with 4 children, Glory, Elijah, Jacob, and Olive. Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Ron Salo of Kabayan Party List. Congressman, good afternoon.
Magandang hapon sa iyo, RJ. Maraming salamat sa napakaganda mong pagpapakilala sa akin. Alam ko, yung binasa mo ay galing po sa staff ko po. Siguro, nandito po sa Attorney Regine. Maraming salamat, Attorney Regine, sa pagpapadala kay RJ ng kanyang binasa. At syempre, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Happy Hearts Day. Sabi nga po kanina, lahat po bumati na po at pinakahuling bumati si ating Marville, ang country director po ng IS1. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Ngayon din, natutuwa po tayong malaman na maaga po tayong natapos po ngayon, just on time.
Yeah, we're kind of early, 1 hour and 30 minutes without the typical webinar would last for about 2 hours.
Tama pa rin po.
But that's okay. That saves me memory on how to upload this.
Nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng ating mga naging tagapagsalita, katuwang sa organisasyon at higit sa lahat sa ating mga seafarers at maritime stakeholders sa inyong aktibong pakikilahok sa ating Magna Carta Filipino Seafarers 101 webinar.
Okay.
Sa nakalipas na 4 na episodes, masusing tinalakay natin ang mahalagang usapin na may direktang epekto sa ating maritime industry. Sa unang episode, kung maalala po ninyo, tinalakay natin ang rights and obligations of seafarers, ang mga karapatan at tungkulin ng ating mga marino sa ilalim ng Magna Carta. Nagpapasalamat tayo kay Secretary Hans Kakak.
Yeah, more like 80% obligations, 20% rights. Yeah, the first episode was something. Yeah, the first episode went like that or something like that.
Rules and regulations. Sa ikalawang episode, pinag-usapan natin ang obligations of manning agencies and roles of government agencies to seafarers. Maraming salamat kay Dr. Conrado Oca ng AMOSUP sa pagbibigay ng pambungad na pananalita. Kay Commissioner Jojo Sale ng SSS na nagbahagi ng kanyang kalaman sa mga tungkulin ng pamahalaan sa pangalaga sa ating mga seafarers at kay Attorney Iris Bagilat sa kanyang pangwakas na mensahe. Sa ikatlong episode, malala po ninyo nakaraang Friday, tinalakay natin ang mga hamon na maaaring magbanta sa posisyon ng Pilipinas bilang preferred supplier of seafarers. Kabilang na ang ambulance chasing at iba pang isyong kinaharap ng ating maritime industry at ng ating mga seafarers. Maraming salamat kay CEO.
I don't know if it's exactly a threat. From what my understanding is a threat because some shipping owners are not happy that they're not getting their money back because of insurance claims.
Laban sa papalinlang ng mga legal practices. Ngayong pang-4 na episode, pinagtibay natin ang kahalagahan ng training and education of maritime professionals.
In what way? I don't think they kind of strengthened the training and education because we kind of saw a lot of plot holes as well, even on the maritime training education at Magna Carta. And this is kind of noticeable even for typical folks like me, a typical Filipino folks like me, Filipino seafarers. So the plot holes are very obvious. It's not really written well.
At kay Ma'am Lana Tolentino Rahon at kay Sir Marvel P. Spago.
Yeah, that's the thing about Merita. It was supposed to be Magna Carta for Filipino seafarers, but what happened is, what is happening right now is just basically an irony of what was supposedly the law to protect Filipino seafarers. What's happening here is that Magna Carta for seafarers doesn't exactly protect Filipino seafarers. It's more like protecting the other way around, the shipping owners or people who benefit from the hard work of Filipino seafarers, which I don't know. It's kind of funny how why they written this law
Marino
And from
PH,
my understanding,
sa Maritime Journalists
they
Association
kinda
of the
just
Philippines at the
drafted
World,
this
na tumulong
law
sa
for a couple of
pagpapalaganap
days
ng
and
mahalagang
basically
profesyon sa
wrote
ating
it.
maritime community.
That's what
Siyempre,
happened here.
sa ating
They did
social
not
media
further
partner,
made
Mika,
an in-depth
na nagbigay daan
research
upang
on the
maabot natin
maritime
ang mas marami pang
industry
mga
and
seafarers at
how
kanilang pamilya.
a Filipino
Nagpapasalamat
seafarer's
din po tayo
life
sa Team Kabayan na
works.
siyang tumutulong
That's what happened here.
tuwing Friday po natin. Maraming salamat po Ma'am Divine, kay RJ, kay Atty. Regine, kay Miss Ren. Marami pa pong mga kasama po natin na talagang tumutulong, kina Danilo, kina Cristel. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Siyempre, sa likod po ng mga webinars po natin, hindi po natin nakikita madalas yung mga taong nasa likod po nito. Yung mga sa gumagawa at nagpe-prepare ng lahat po ng ito bago pa man din po gawin o mangyari po yung ating webinar. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Muli, nagpapasalamat ako sa inyong lahat sa inyong pakikibahagi at pagsuporta sa ating advokasya. Patuloy tayong magkaisa sa pagsusulong ng isang mas ligtas, mas maayos at mas unlad na hinaharap para sa ating mga seafarers. Maraming salamat po, nabanggit din po kanina, pinasalamatan natin lahat po ng naging kamahagi sa pagtasa po ng batas po nito. Ganun din po ng implementing rules and regulations. Alam ko, hindi po ito perfect because nothing really is perfect. It's always a work in progress. So, bakit nakita po
But
natin
don't make
sa
the
ating
plot
pakikinig po
holes
sa
too
mga
obvious even for a Filipino, typical Filipino seafarer. The plot holes are so obvious.
Pinag-usapan po natin ito.
And the worst part of it is that they're making plot holes on the most critical aspects of the law.
Po natin kung paano ito higit na ma-implement. Anay ho, a note, syempre may mga bashers din po tayo simula noon hanggang ngayon. Hindi po maiwasan. Syempre dahil hindi naman lahat ay mapiplease po natin. Kahit anong gawin po natin na pagpupursige para isulong po ang kapakanan po ng mga seafarers po natin at mga stakeholders po nito, definitely hindi naman po lahat masisiyahan. May mga tao talaga na tatamaan po because of course they are
he's kind of
okay
butthurt on those comments that was flown up on the chat.
Magagalit. But at the same time, kay seafarer po na from the very beginning, ang seafarer lang po yung ginagamit po niya, pero from the very beginning,
he's even so butthurt.
Galit na galit po siya dito po sa allotment. Pero I note na itong allotment na provision po nito, hindi naman po ito bago. It has always been there. At in-institutionalize lang po natin dito sa batas po nito. At the same time, paulit-ulit din po yung explanation po nito, hindi lang po dito sa webinar series po nito. Pero I would also note that no amount of explanation would let any person, if he has already made up his mind, and when he's coming from a different perspective, ay tatanggapin kung ano po yung explanation.
I think in a practical sense, they're not here to discuss this. They're here just only to announce and tell us that that is the law. So I don't think he has any obligation to even answer it. So in a practical sense, so I don't blame him on what he's saying on this one, believe it or not. But that's kind of poor PR because he's kind of showing that he's butthurt on that. He's kind of butthurt on this. This congressman is basically butthurt on some comments left by that seafarer on the chat.
Maraming salamat sapagkat palagi nilang sinasabi, iba po ang may alam at syempre, higit na iba rin yung may pakialam. So maraming salamat po sa inyo at lagi po tayong mag-engage sa ating mga pag-usap at mga ginagawa po para sa mga seafarers po natin. At makakaasa po kayo ng inyong pong lingkod, si Congressman Ronzalo, ay manatiling nandito para sikapin po natin. Kasama po kayong lahat, mga stakeholders po natin, na mas ma-implement po natin ang batas po nito.
And that was caught on video that he's butthurt about the situation. About the chat.
Po ng mga seafarers po natin at ng kanilang mga pamilya. So muli, maraming salamat po sa inyo. And soon, may mga iba po tayong mga gagawin, mga activities para lalong ma-promote o ma-ensure po natin na ma-implement po ito ng mas maayos kasama ng lahat ng mga ahensya ng ating pamahalaan, lahat po ng mga stakeholders, both public and the private. So maraming salamat muli sa inyo at nawa ang ating Valentine's Day po ngayon ay lalong maging mas masaya. Sana pagharap po natin doon sa mga mahal po natin sa buhay, lalo na po mga seafarers po natin, yung mga iba po ay nasa laot po sa ngayon, maaaring tatawagan po ninyo yung mga mahal sa buhay mamaya o kayo po na nandito po sa Pilipinas at habang tinatawagan niyo po sila ay nawa palagi po ninyong malala rin na ang batas po na ito ay intended and designed for greater protection. So muli, maraming
Really, I
salamat.
find that hard to believe right now.
Hayaan niyo po ako, pagbigyan niyo na po ako na i-promote ko rin po yung Kabayan Party List. Ito po ay 120 po sa balota. I hope na
Big Butthurt, that's gonna affect your PR, really. I'll be honest. That is really gonna hurt your PR, especially now that the election is coming up. I'm just saying this in a practical way, practical and pragmatic way. So believe it or not, being nice, especially if you're a politician, does pay off. And it's not good being butthurt, especially if you're right in the middle or near election day or election week or whatever you call it.
Maraming salamat, pagpalain po tayo ng ating Diyos. Happy Valentine's Day, Kabayan Party List po, 120. Maraming salamat.
Happy Valentine's Day. That was Congressman Congressman, happy Valentine's Day. Yeah. Before I turn this over to Cristel for the photo op, kanina pinasalamatan ni Congressman yung mga technical team. Pasalamatan ko na lang din yung team natin. From Kabayan team, Miss Regine, Miss Ren, Danilo, Cristela, Lucian, and of course, my team from here, Luis, Anton, Aaron, Jean Rose, and Lara will keep everything in order habang nandito. Gusto nyo magpakita, gusto daw nilang magpakita, mag-hi para po sa atin. Happy Valentine's po sa ating lahat. It's been an honor to host these 4 sessions of Magna Carta Filipino Seafarers 101, a webinar series of Kabayan Party List. Sa ating pong lahat, happy Valentine's and thank you for joining us. Cristel, take it away.
Hello po, mag-picture po tayo. Open niyo po
Okay, so I guess we should leave now the conference. That basically concludes our conference of Magna Carta. It's already very much clear. Now, here's the thing. As we wrap up on today's live stream conference about Magna Carta for Filipino seafarers, this law has been very controversial and a lot of seafarers are not happy about this law because there are some clear plot holes that are showing up. This law was supposed to represent a major step forward in protecting Filipino seafarers' rights and ensuring fair wages and better working conditions and legal protections. However, as much as we saw it here on the video, it's kind of like the discussion still went on a very different tone. There is a lot of loopholes here, especially on the training and education. They're saying about non-discriminatory stuff, blah blah blah, but we're saying in the training and education of the maritime professions was supposed to be streamlined, but what is happening right now is that it is not streamlined, but it is more like exactly the opposite. It's more like being separated, so it kind of contradicts a lot of things. But anyway, that's what the congressman said. This law is still a work in progress. It's not 100% perfect, but they should have worked it closely on the law a bit more further. They should have put a lot more effort on this law. And what happened here is that, yeah, they just basically generalized stuff. They did not specifically, delve into this kinds of topic. But anyway, that's the law. It's already written. It's just that I hope that those plot holes will be patched up soon, because it's very, very obvious and very, very concerning for even a normal Filipino seafarer that these plot holes exist on this law. Anyway, thank you all for your time in watching this video. And if you find discussion very valuable, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can contribute in spreading awareness and fighting the rights of Filipino seafarers worldwide. So until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and keep pushing for change, fair winds, and following the seas. And good luck to us all Filipino seafarers. So bye bye for now. Bye bye.